factors of the urban condition with a strong emphasis on food in particular, for obvious reasons, but food, it's hard to sort of talk about food in isolation from water, so combining the two. So with that said, let me begin. I wanted to start you off with a little bit of climate information to bring you up to date. And this is a chart of the growth rate of carbon emissions in the world since 1990. And you can see that we're continuing to increase the amount of emissions going into the atmosphere. And the latest measurement is by 2.6% increase, following various increases up to that point. So as we speak here, we're continuing to sort of load the atmosphere with the stuff that we need to worry about down the road, and presently as well. I don't want to get involved deeply in this diagram. There's not a lot of deep meaning in it, except to say there have been 4 generations of climate models from around the world that have gone into, and that's each of these vertical stacks that you see behind me. And each suite of these models produced a suite of simulations of possible futures. And the very top of these suites of models, or the simulations, up here, these are the worst case scenarios. These are the best case scenarios. In other words, if we get this problem in hand, the problem with CO2, the futures look something like this. Well, I didn't lay out what the scenario is. You don't know what it is, and it doesn't matter for the purposes of this discussion. The point is that this is the newest suite of scenarios that's being prepared for the next assessment due out soon. And these X's up here are the actual carbon emissions. In other words, what is our carbon output relative to these climate model simulations? And the simplest way I can put this is that we are exceeding, or right on track, on par, with the worst case scenario. Years ago, we worried that we were, not we, in the science community, but people have been accusing the science community of scaring people. It wasn't that bad. And now we find out that once we track the actual carbon, we've been up at the top, the worst case scenario part of the expectation. So I just want to plant that on you for the moment. And here's the way all these squiggly lines, these packages of scenarios, are strung out in graphic form here, and showing you the most recent suite. They're all dumped in here. But the point I want to make is here are the actual carbon emissions measurements right here. These dots. Here we are. This line here goes up to something called RCP 8.5. That's one of the high-end scenarios coming out soon. That projects that if we follow this pathway, we will arrive somewhere around 2100 at a temperature between 3.4 and 6.3 degrees centigrade above pre-industrial temperature. So the World Bank just came out with a report worrying about let's not get anywhere near 4 degrees. So we're on a path to get from 3.4 to 6.3. So just so you know the nature of the beast. There's a lot of work to do, needless to say, and let me add a few more pieces in. We've got a climate warming now of about 0.7 to 0.8 degrees above the pre-industrial temperature. That's fairly well recognized. There's no controversy about that. What's probably not known widely, certainly in this audience, and it could be wrong, is that we have something called unrealized warming. In other words, the climate system operates slowly, and the oceans take a long time to warm up, and they keep climate kind of low and locked in, or they give climate In other words, let me say this another way. If we cut our emissions tomorrow to zero, we can't all go home and say, hey, great, we did it. Because we get 0.6 degrees centigrade warming. Excuse me. I also came with a nasty cold. Okay. So, excuse me. This unrealized warming. Excuse me a second. Okay. You brought me up here to cough on stage, I know. The unrealized warming is not a fixed amount. If we continue to load the atmosphere, in other words, go from 400 parts per million in concentration up to 600 parts per million, the commitment, the unrealized commitment is larger. And it takes the world, or the nature, it takes natural systems longer to get rid of it. So the worse it gets, that buildup, the longer it takes to flush out of the system. And so just so you know, this is not a static condition, but it's in motion. And what we do has a lot to do with that. Now, I just want to go back into some statistics about cities. They consume about 80% of the energy produced. They have about 80% of the greenhouse gas emissions coming from cities now. They have over 70% of the world's GDP. Over half the world lives in cities now. And 90% of the urban growth is occurring in the developing world. And I put that in red because I want to come back to that and show later on that most of the growth, the urban growth that we're talking about, is not necessarily growth in developed country urban cities, but rather in developing country cities, where the major part of that growth is anticipated. I mean, the enormous amount of growth. Urban populations are expected to double by 2030, and the built-up area is expected to triple. Well, another way of saying built-up area is that cities expand and develop, and oftentimes that expansion subsumes good agricultural land. And in my country, there is in a perverse sort of way, the market makes the value of this land so high that developers want to come in and take it because it's really attractive to build housing on it and charge a high price and so on and so forth, whereas the agricultural value is down or depressed. And so it forces farmers in many instances to sell to developers. We've heard the statistic over and over, 7% or more of the world's population projected to reside in cities by 2050. Cities attract 70 new million residents each year. 1.25 million people each week. Most of this motion is in developing country cities. 1.25 million each week. I mean, the numbers are kind of mind-boggling to even say. And so what's the cost of all of this adaptation? Well, the World Bank says anywhere from $70 to $100 billion per year out to 2050 for developing countries. Now, here's a graph. 2050, from 2010 to 2050, there's been a large movement of that rural population into urban centers, but not in developed country urban centers, into urban centers in developing countries. And in most cases, they're abandoning farmland. And perhaps not farmland, but drylands as well in these cases. So, this is not a problem that is universally spread out either. I'm so sorry. Thank you. Okay. A few more statistics and then I'm done. 13% of the world's urban population, about 360 million people, live in the low elevation coastal zones, that is within 10 meters of sea level. 15 of the world's 20 mega cities as well. And we heard last night, that number is now up to 21. And in Europe, 70% of the largest cities are open to sea level rise problems because they live within that particular zone. And unfortunately or otherwise, the reality is that cities are first responders to disasters, and that's out of necessity and circumstance. Cities just have to function, they have to do things, people have to get around, it has to keep moving. On the food security side, London imports, for example, more than 80% of its food from outside the UK. Projections of net cereal production in South Asian countries is anticipated to decline by 4 to 10%, driven by temperature and precipitation trends which affect cross yields across the board. And it looks like wheat and irrigated rice are also going to be affected so that they're lower yield. And a lot of that is going to be in South Asia. I'm going to skip through this and just say the punchline to this is quite simple. Recent temperature trends have indicated that they've begun to affect crop yields. The crop growing season in many cases, in many countries, has been shifted to higher temperatures. Those higher temperatures have had largely a negative impact on the largest caloric-based crops. And so we expect to see more of this in the future as the temperatures go up. So we've got some real problems with the food sources that we have now. And so I'd like to bring this to a close by asking a bunch of questions that I hope would generate some discussion. First one being, how will the climate present itself over time? Well, weather. That's the way climate is going to show up. Weather, day to day, month to month, season to season. We won't know it's climate until 30 years out, and we look back and say, oh yeah, it's climate. But on a day to day, season to season, disasters, storms like Sandy, this is the way it'll play out. The idea of 2050, we talked a lot about 2050 when the world population, 80% of it or so resides in urban centers. But we can't really plan for 2050. What's going to happen between now and 2050? Well, a lot. On a daily basis, on an annual basis, and what's going to happen after 2050? A lot. So I think we have to really start thinking in terms of the long temporal pathway up to 2050 and beyond 2050, because the situation is dynamic. It's changing. It's not the same. You plan for 2050 now, by the time you get to 2050, it's all wrong. How do cities, I mean, I'm not the first one here who asked this question. I mean, it's Bill could security prices down the road. And as we heard last night, what are the innovations that already exist? I mean, it'd be nice to inventory what's out there so that we all have a good sense of what's there, because I think it's going to take an army, a community of innovation to deal with this circumstance rather than an innovation or two. And the other question I asked after I saw Hurricane Sandy was, are these innovations resilient to withstand disasters? In other words, if we had some of these things built out in New York City at the time, would they have made it? Or would they themselves be less resilient to disasters coming down the road? And a follow-on to that question is that obviously innovations don't exist in a vacuum. If, for example, we had a plant to go into New York City or anywhere in the world, and the transportation system gets knocked out, what use is it if nobody can get their food and the food can't get to the people that need it at the time they need it? And so there has to be this synergy. There has to be these pieces of the city, the things that make up the city, the transportation sector, you name it, the delivery sector. They have to sort of work together so that they have this thing sorted out. Nothing can sort of operate in a vacuum. And the last question here, which I'm sure a number of people will raise, is our political will and governance sufficient to address the challenges upon us? And that can probably take 2 days of discussion in and of itself. But I think those are all important issues because we know that politics is often a short-lived process. Politicians are here 2 years, 4 years, 6 years, and gone. And so the kind of governance I'm referring to here is something that encapsulates vision, a vision of the future, a vision of where things need to be. And largely people that remain in place long enough to move that vision forward while politics changes, while politicians change positions, the vision keeps moving forward. And there are times when politicians can really sort of push that vision hard, and other times when there's no momentum, but you have the basic driving force in this governance structure. So I think it's important to think through that and give it a nature of a lifetime. So with that, let me close with a quote from Mayor Bloomberg of New York City after the Hurricane Sandy incident, and talking about the need to meet the challenge the climate is throwing at us and requiring a leap into the future. I don't know about the leap into the future, but I do think we have to start thinking about how we are going to get to 2050, what's going to happen along the way, what's the plan for the dynamic circumstances that develop up to 2050 and beyond 2050, and considering where we are on the climate side of things as well, because you can't separate these things out.